When she senses something below, she uses her exceptionally long claws to rake through the sand. But the rat escapes. And it's one for the jackals. Little Man has found a puff adder that has just caught a gerbil, and the badger does an extraordinary thing. He swipes the gerbil from the puff adder's mouth, then casually settles down near the deadly snake to eat its prey. And when he's done, he moves in on the puff adder itself. Puff adders have large fangs that can deliver a massive dose of lethal venom in a rapid strike. The badger's real advantage is not so much its teeth and claws, but its ferocity, its sheer tenacity.
I think he's got it.
The badger has dispatched one of Africa's most dangerous snakes. As always, he starts at the head, destroying the lethal fangs. But this time, it may be too late.
Look at his right cheek. The right cheek, it's swelling up.
Clayman's been bitten by the puff adder, right cheek swelling, and he stopped eating the snake.
This is a tense moment for Keith and Colleen. It's taken many months to get this close to Little Man. He's quite a character and he's taught them a lot about badgers. Now it looks like he's showing them how readily a badger can die.
His breathing is very shallow, and the swelling, tennis ball size on his right cheek, he's just lying in the open.
But after almost 2 hours, there are signs of life.
It's 03:48, and he seems to be recovering, but he's still got the swelling.
Little is known about the immunity some animals may have to snake venom, but this much is sure. Little Man has survived the bite of a snake notorious for killing humans, and now, to their astonishment, he returns to his deadly dinner.
Dr. Spurl, I'm not sure if you're aware of this. You're a doctor. I know you're aware of that. You're in Minnesota. I know you're aware of that. Your website is officialsynapse.com, officialsynapse.com. But, sir, as a doctor, how much of your time have you spent studying the honey badger?
I would say, strangely enough, I've got a couple hours in over the last couple of years.
So these are things I want you to know and the listeners to know. A honey badger. Natalie, have you spent a lot of time studying the honey badger?
I don't think I have.
Okay, on part one of today's show, the intro of today's show is about the honey badger. You're going to have to watch it, okay? So off camera, I put this together. But the honey badger is an animal that, I'm not kidding, it survives by eating snakes and bee larvae, okay? This is what it does. And so what it does is it survives by eating snakes and bee larvae. Why am I saying this? It has the ability to be bit by snakes, and it doesn't die, and it eats bee larvae, so it gets stung all the time. Its entire life consists of being bitten by snakes and in being stung by bees, but it somehow survives because a honey badger has adapted to that. That's the way God made it. And to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be a honey badger. And so there are 5 moves that you have to use if you want to become successful as an entrepreneur. But before we do that, I'm going to pull up some highly demotivational stats for the folks at home, because I know people want demotivational stats. So here we go. In 2015, the year 2015, in America, in the year 2015, you had roughly 10%, of Americans were entrepreneurs in 2015. What? 2015, 10%, of Americans. So you might say, what percentage of Americans, were self-employed in 2015? All right, I'm looking it up. Somebody out there can do your own research on this. 2015, I'm looking it up. You're looking it up. Everyone's looking it up. Here we go. That number that came in was approximately 10.1% of our population, 15 million people were self-employed, So you had, just to be clear, you had 15 million self-employed people, In 2015, 15 million, right? However, now if you go to usdebtclock.org, we're down to 8.8 million self-employed people. That number just keeps going down and down and down and down. And I will tell you why. There's a lot of reasons, but the one in particular, the level of tenacity needed to become successful is almost entirely missing from the American population. What am I saying? Let me repeat this. There used to be, Natalie, 15 million self-employed people back in 2015. Now we're down to 8.8 million, which is roughly half. And it goes down all the time because people struggle with tenacity or following up after you receive some kind of rejection. So Dr. Sperl does not have this problem, which is why Dr. Sperl has been very successful. And his website, officialsynapse.com, I'll pull it up here, officialsynapse.com. This is the website, but Dr. Sperl, I want to tap into your wisdom on these 5 areas. The first area, step 1, you have to organize your day every day. That's just it. Yep. Every day. Every day. Dr. Sperl, why do you have to organize your schedule every day?
Well, the consistency is what pays off. And so if you don't, you're just dealing with chaos. And so you have to be able to know to what say yes to and what to say no to.
Natalie, you work with wonderful clients, many of which have no problem organizing their day. Some are maybe newer to entrepreneurship. What kind of follow-up question would you have for Dr. Sperl on behalf of maybe some of your clients that are newer to the idea of organizing their day every day?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing would be is blocking out time to work in the business versus on the business.
Dr. Sperl, what are your thoughts?
Yep, I agree with that 100%. So as a doctor in particular, that was one of the biggest challenges from an entrepreneurial mindset because I was very good with the patients, but I had to carve out time to work on my business. And a lot of times entrepreneurs are good at what they do and they think that's enough to be successful. And the reality is, which Natalie just pointed out, you have to dedicate time to work on your business. And then eventually it starts working for you instead of you working for it.
I just want to be super clear. You know, today I'm taking my daughter out for dad-daughter time here at 5 p.m. today. What? Yeah, because we're going to talk about this Napoleon Hill book called The Laws of Success. And the way I do it is I tell my kids, if you read book A, B, C, if they read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if they read Think and Grow Rich, there's certain books they have to read, Laws of Success. If you read that book, I will give you $300, and then we will sit down for an hour to discuss it. If you don't read it, you're not getting $300. And we're not going to discuss it. But I block out time to do it. So Dr. Sperl, I'm sitting down talking to my daughter today about The Laws of Success, a Napoleon Hill book, but it's in the schedule. Dr. Sperl, what gets scheduled gets done. Why is it that that seems like such a profound idea? I mean, we're here today doing this podcast, which means I'm not doing something else. Why is that idea that what gets scheduled gets done so profoundly abnormal?
Well, because it breeds success. And so what matters gets measured, what gets scheduled gets done. And so if you don't do that, you drift through life. And so it's all about being intentional with what matters to you. And so when you schedule it, you know what to say yes to, what to say no to, and then you can schedule it, get it done, and then you can measure the results.
Step number 2, you got to follow up until you have success. Holy moly, that irritates people. When you follow up, so like right now we have this conference coming up this week, and I'm not mad. I'm not throwing shade at people. I'm just being very clear. I have a waterfall, and it needs to work. And it's very binary, actually. It's either it does work or it doesn't work. And so the waterfall in front of our building does work. But there was a time when it didn't work. And so I followed up until it worked. Another example, we have a waterfall at my house. And it either does work or it doesn't work. Now, we're having our first conference of the spring, so therefore it's kind of, you're going out of winterization mode where some of these things were winterized to keep pipes from exploding, and now we're de-winterizing. But the point is, it's very binary. Either it is or isn't working. And this idea of it is or isn't working, the microphones, they either are or are not working. They're either working or they're not. The microphones are either causing feedback or they aren't. They either are or aren't working. There's either a buzzing sound or there isn't a buzzing sound. By the way, camera, does that working or do you know yet? Camera?
Yep, it works.
Okay. But it's just like the camera either works or it doesn't work. Everything is either yes or no. But we live in a world now where when you follow up with people, people get easily offended. And then the average entrepreneur will not follow up with somebody after they get just a little bit of pushback. Whereas my normal is if you give me pushback, I'm following up 10 times faster, 10 times harder, 10 times more intense. Dr. Sperl, you have learned the skill set of following up until success. Why is that not normal, sir?
Well, it's not normal because people don't do it because it does breed success. So that if people did this and did it well, we wouldn't be losing entrepreneurs. So 100% the fortune's in the follow-up. And so it's very important for people to continually be okay with rejection. In our work area here, we call it failing forward. And when you do that, it actually breeds an environment of action, and people aren't afraid to be rejected as far as just getting a no for now.
Natalie, any follow-up question you have about this idea of following up? Because I see it all the time. People do not want to follow up because they don't want to bother people. They don't want to harass people, but then nothing gets done.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is, in your opinion, people talk about when to follow up, when not to follow up, what times are the best, who's awake, who's not awake. What would you say to those people who ask those questions?
Dr. Sperl?
Well, I think it's actually important. There is an art. So we have some people who are just kind of like verbal diarrhea and they just dump things out there when it comes to following up. And then we have people who have a gift. They nuance it and they're able to talk to people and say things in a way. We develop scripts, we develop terminology to help ease people into feeling comfortable with the follow-up. For example, I will tell people that I'm following up as a professional courtesy because I want to make sure that we don't have any of the people that have reached out to us fall through the hoops. In healthcare, it's very common where people feel neglected. We're not like that, so we're following up with you.
Folks, this is big stuff. If you go to our website at eitrlounge.com, that's the haircut chain. If you go to our website, or if you go to officialsynapse.com, I'm just giving you some examples. A lot of times people will fill out the form, and on average, we have to call somebody 5 times before we reach them. Why? Most people don't answer the phone unless they know the number. So we have to call and text people. Natalie, I'm going to pass the mic real quick here to Levi, then I'll come right back to you. Levi contacts people that go to makeyourdogepic.com, the dog training company, and he calls people back that have filled out the form. Levi, how often do you have to call somebody back before you reach them?
Oh man, I'd probably say on average 6 times, right around there, 4 to 6 times.
Natalie, you do a phenomenal job in a variety of roles following up. I've seen you do it. You do a great job. Why do you think that business owners don't want to follow up with the same lead 6 times until they reach the person?
They're worried about hurting their feelings. They're worried about making them angry. They're worried about being on the phone, talking to anyone, having human interaction.
Dr. Sperl, do you have any thoughts on this? I see a lot of people, they go to a website like officialsynapse.com, or they go to eitrlounge.com, or they go to makeyourdogepic.com. They fill out the form. But then, the person the business is oftentimes not very persistent when it comes to following up.
Yeah, we've actually had people thank us for following up because people, believe it or not, are so unorganized with their life that it's just easy to say no. And sometimes you catch them at the wrong time, they don't answer it. Or if they're not in the mental space for it, they don't answer it. So when you actually catch them when they're in the mental space and then you have something that they need and they want, they are very, very grateful for that. And other people on our end, as we're training them, they do get uncomfortable with a bunch of no's or a bunch of non-results. And so you have to help them. It is personal growth. When you can learn to do this well as an employee and get your employees to do it, they start becoming more successful in life because life is all about rejection and moving forward.
Now, I'm going to show an example real quick. I'm not a wrestler, wasn't a wrestler. Wrestling wasn't my thing, but I'm going to pull it up just so we're clear. I went to a high school called Dassel Cokato High School, which, by the way, has only 28 reviews and a 4.1. Let me fix that right now. Let me leave these guys a review. Let me just get in there right now. I'm going to write a review right now. I'm a 5-star. I'll put Mr. Lund was an incredible wrestling coach. I'll put wrestling coach. Okay. Wrestling coach. Okay. Boom. I just left that there. Okay. There we go. So Mr. Lund, this guy, he used to take the wrestling team to the championships or to the high school championship level all the time. And this guy was legendary for a lot of things. But, in wrestling, they put you in weight classes. Are you aware of this, Natalie?
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Sproul, you aware of this, the weight classes?
Absolutely.
All right. So what he would do is there was a guy on my team back in the day, and our guy in my high school class back in the day. I didn't wrestle, but this was a guy on our grade named Ben Meyer. And Ben was jacked. But somehow Lund would come in and go, hey, you got to lose 8 pounds because somebody got injured. And so I need you to go wrestle down a weight to this guy here. You got to wrestle this guy. Or, hey, man, I need you to put on 8 pounds because I need you to go up a weight. But I'm telling you, he would follow up this guy, this Coach Lund. He would measure you. He had his athletes wearing these weird rubber suits during the day, so they're sweating all the time. And he would have them submit their diet. Every day you had to submit your diet of what you ate. And let me tell you what, that team did not have a problem with obesity. Let me tell you what, that team was unbelievably dialed in. Now, today, I work with a couple people in the professional sporting space, and I won't mention the name of the team or the name of the guy, but with the pro athletes, they also track their diets. I mean, if you're paying a guy millions of dollars a year to play a sport, guess what you're doing? You're tracking their diet. Now, I'm just saying, whatever you measure is what you treasure. You treasure what you measure. So for whatever reason in business, I don't get it. In business, people don't want to track the results or lack thereof. So I want to get your thoughts on this. Dr. Spurl, you are absolutely obsessive about tracking the results for your patients. Why is it that business owners by default don't want to track results? What is that all about?
Well, I guess they don't see the value in it or they're not good at it, but I am addicted to my tracking sheets. And so I love tracking, seeing the numbers. Can you imagine as a doctor, we don't track the numbers. We don't know what their blood pressure is, their blood sugar. We don't know what their lab values are. We wouldn't be able to make the good decisions for them. Same thing with your business. You have a sick business. You need to figure out what the numbers are telling you. You have to know your numbers. And so tracking sheets are phenomenally informational when it comes to telling you exactly what to do.
Now, we've had the pleasure to work with you as a business coaching client for quite some time. And I can tell you, you have really just dove into the numbers, the tracking. Yeah. Like that's a thing you lean into. What do you say to the business owner out there that's like, why do I have to track every week? Every week. I mean, I'm different. I'm in a small town up here in Minnesota. Things are different. What do you say to somebody? Because you're in Minnesota, you're a doctor. What would you say to somebody who's maybe new to tracking?
Well, for me, it was such a game changer. Not only was it tracking, but what you're tracking. So you guys helped me a lot with figuring out what matters in tracking it. And so it told me when things aren't going well, all I had to do was look at my tracking sheet instead of playing all this guesswork and then asking a bunch of people, staff members, of why they think this is wrong. Instantly, we're able to course correct. And even to the point where we knew instantaneously when our pricing was not right. And to balance the budget, it was a simple tweak of changing our pricing by 3% to balance everything.
Natalie, what follow-up question would you have? Because Dr. Spurl, phenomenal doctor, also a phenomenal client. He's leaned into tracking. Most people, frankly, are a little bit new to tracking. It's a new idea. It's something that's a new skill. Maybe they're not maybe they don't desire to lean into tracking as much. Maybe there's a little bit of pushback there. What follow-up question would you have for Dr. Spurl about tracking?
What would you say to those people who say, I don't have the time to track, or I forgot to track, or I'm too busy to track?
Yeah, so that's an excuse. And so one of my good friends, Pastor Greg Locke, says an excuse is nothing more than a reason wrapped in a skid of a lie. And so you're believing a lie. And so it matters. It's one of the most important things. Put it on the calendar, and you'll be shocked the time that you get back because of how much more efficient you are because you know your numbers. Great question.
Now, the final question I have here for you about this Honeybadger approach to entrepreneurship is you got to follow proven processes. And so I want to give some examples to this real quick. I know specifically the steps that you need to take to achieve goal A, B, C. What am I saying? If you want to optimize a website, I know how to do it. If you want to optimize your business, I know how to do it. If you want to hire great people, I know how to do it. Now, let me tell you something I don't know. I don't know how to fix a wood splitter. I don't know. So what I do is I have Jackie who works here, and Jackie knows how to fix a wood splitter. So what I do is I give him a hard time all the time. But ultimately, I know that he's the guy who knows how to fix the wood splitter. He has a system, a process. He's aware of words and tools and systems that I'm not aware of. So when I need to fix a wood splitter or a vehicle, I would go to Jackie. When I need to fix a business, I would go to me. But I'm not going to get those two lanes twisted or confused. I'm not going to start demanding that people come to me for vehicle repair ideas because I have no idea what I'm doing with that. I think that a lot of entrepreneurs are resistant, for whatever reason, to following a proven process. And I think a lot of patients might be resistant to following a proven process. So you might say a patient comes in and says, hey, I have chronic inflammation. And you might say, okay, we're going to reduce the amount of wheat and sweets and alcohol. They go, what? Just no wheat, no sweets, no alcohol for 60 days. We'll see what happens. And somebody might say, well, that doesn't make any sense. I like to drink. Why is it that within the human condition that many people are resistant to following proven processes?
Well, the human condition is such where we actually fight to be right about our belief systems, and we seek pleasure over pain. And a lot of times doing things that are perceptually painful, we avoid. And so there's an actual component in the brain in Olympic athletes that's larger, because when you do something that you don't like consistently and you get good at it, it actually enhances your brain. And we see that with Olympic athletes and entrepreneurs.
Again, mind-boggling. I did not know that. But that's, again, I'm not shocked by that. I think once you learn to do hard things, it becomes easier to do them. Natalie, what follow-up question would you have for Dr. Spurl about following proven processes?
I would say the biggest thing is, what would you say to those whenever it comes to the path and following the path, or if they want to start to stray off and maybe take a different exit or mix it all together? What would you say to those people?
I would tell them that even though you think you know better, stop it and just listen to the professionals. And so I remember Clay is brilliant at rebuking people when they have dumb ideas, and I came up with some doozies in the beginning, and it was the best thing you could have done with me, is just like, yeah, that's stupid. And that was that was not the way to go. You saved me time and money and resources because I thought it was a good idea, and you knew right away it wasn't, and you ended up being right.
Well, let me tell
when it
you a
came to.
story that is a true story that's a little crazy, okay? Years ago, I won't mention the person's name, but years ago, a person in my business came to me and they said, hey, I think the elephant in the room, our haircut place, we should start selling shoes. And I said, you do? They go, yeah. There's a guy who I know who has wholesale shoes, and he'll sell us wholesale shoes. We just need like 10 grand, and we could buy a massive amount of shoes. We're talking like Johnston Murphy and all these brands, and we could get them half off, discount wholesale shoes. And I said, you really believe this? Long story short, a couple days later, I show up to work, and there is a massive truck showing up with copious amounts of shoes, men's shoes. And I'm going, what's happening? And they go, didn't miss out on this deal. We now have what's probably 50 grand worth of shoes. I got it for 15 grand. We're in the shoe business. And I'm going, no, and again, where are you going to put them? There's pallets of shoes. I'm not kidding. There's dollies of shoes. And so this person is really trying to push this ball uphill, asking people like, hey, before your haircut, would you like to look at some shoes? Hey, now that you had your haircut, have you thought about getting some shoes? And it was just such epic jackassery that it knew no bounds, and it was ridiculous. But this person was highly motivated, highly caffeinated, maybe even a highly inebriated. I don't know, but they were so fired up. This became a thing that they just were obsessed about it. Also, this individual was obsessed with selling men bracelets. Now, I don't know a lot of men that buy bracelets, let alone enough bracelets to be profitable sustainably, but they were into it. And it's just like they were so committed. They were so excited. And my relationship with this particular individual, with this particular company for a while was that of the person just saying no. So Dr. Spurl, my final question for you is you got to say no to grow. A lot of times you got to say no to things that don't work to say yes to the things that do work. What do listeners need to stop saying yes to as it relates to their health? If people want to optimize their health in this year, if people want to, feel great, look great, optimize their health, what are some things people need to say no to? And what are some things people need to say yes to at officialsynapse.com, sir?
Well, number one, they need to say no to things like being on their phone late night, keeping them up, having that distraction, and say yes to prioritizing sleep in a great sleep environment. They need to say no to man-made processed food and say yes to the good Maha created God-given food that's out there. And they need to look at relationships and people that are taking from them and say yes to people that are pouring into them. And that will change your life.
And again, folks, that website is officialsynapse.com, officialsynapse.com. Dr. Sproul speaks 2 languages, English and Minnesotan. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Sproul, if somebody says, what's a Davenport? Someone hears somebody in Minnesota say, oh, do you want to sleep on the Davenport? A Davenport. If you're visiting family in Minnesota, they might say, oh, do you want to sleep on the Davenport? What is that, sir?
Well, I'm not native Minnesotan, so I actually don't know what a true Davenport is, but I hear a lot of talk about them.
Okay, it's a couch. Let me try one more. If you're in Minnesota and somebody were to offer you a dessert item known as a bar, what is that?
They're actually very tasty. So they're usually have got some like caramel with some graham cracker and some other stuff in there, but they make them, and I don't know, they're really good. So.
And you speak Minnesotan and English. I appreciate you for doing both there, sir. I'll give you the final
Absolutely.
word. What's the message you want to say to anybody out there that maybe needs a little bit of encouragement as it relates to persistence, sir?
Well, like I said before, failing forward is one of the best things you can do. Develop the spiritual gift of getting knocked on your butt and getting back up. It's one of the best things that you can do when it comes to just life in general. And so there's a lot of ups and downs when you're on a roller coaster, and you know you're on a roller coaster. It's fun. If you don't know on your roller coaster, it's scary as all get out. So just stay the course. When you get knocked down, just get back up.
Dr. Sproul, you look like you smell tremendous. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Bye. Folks, to have success in any area of life requires persistence. And on today's show, we have a guy who's had success in the area of fitness. He's actually become a pro athlete. He's a former member of the SWAT team, so he's had success in law enforcement and athletics. He's also a movie producer. He's a film producer. He's a best-selling author. He's an entrepreneur. He's had success in many, many areas. But to have success in any area, you've got to develop this ability to persist. Somehow the fortune is in the follow-up. Somehow you have to get that idea that the fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is not in having a new idea. It's implementing that idea until success. Here to talk about it is Dr. Sherwood. Welcome onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
Doing well, Clay. Thank you for having me. It sounds like a great topic to talk about.
So area number 1, there's 5 areas I want to get into. 1, every single day you have to organize your day. If you want to have any level of success every day, you have to block out time for what matters. Dr. Sherwood, what say you, sir?
Well, I agree. Like, for example, we have this time podcast set every single Monday, and we don't miss it. We're always right on time. And we both have a tight schedule, and we both keep the schedule throughout the course of the day, no matter what happens. And so to be time conscious is to be goal conscious. To not be time conscious is to not be goal conscious. So I think that explains itself right there.
It's so important, folks. You got to design your day. Dr. Sherwood, area number 2, you got to follow up until success, not follow up if it's successful. You follow up until it's successful. There's a big difference there. So let's put on your fitness hat for a second. Yeah. You're sitting down with a patient and they say, hey, I want to lose 30 pounds or of excess body fat, you might call it, or they want to optimize their health or whatever the nomenclature is. They want to optimize their health. They want to lose, let's say, 30 pounds. You have a plan. And I know that plan works because I've met many people that have gone to your Sherwood.tv website. They've scheduled a consultation with you and your incredible team. And they've actually, within the span of a year, one short year, they've lost 30 pounds and kept the weight off. Let's talk about that for a second. You've got to follow up until success. Walk us through how you would guide a patient to achieving physical fitness or success in fitness by persistently following up.
Well, first of all, you kind of work backwards. What's your goal, like you talked about? And then you work backwards and develop steps to get there. And so you have measurable implementation along the way. So step 1 should be accomplished by here, and you measure that. Step 2 should be accomplished by here, and you measure that. When you don't meet the measurables, you follow up and restructure the pathway to get there in a sense. But ultimately, if you don't follow up on that and you don't stay on top of that, you're going to get off track. So I think following up is one of the best things I know to stay on the right course.
Now, you work with people in the areas of fitness. People start out on the right course. I don't think anybody starts off saying, wow, I just hired a new doctor or medical team to help me optimize my health. I know what I'll do. I'll get off course. I mean, I think most people start off with good intentions. Where do you see the most common areas or sources of drifting?
They get out there, they have a good plan, but they get distracted. What creates distraction is you lose sight of the goal. It's like if you're running a race, for example, you focus on the finish line one step at a time. You know what it's going to take to get there. But if you're focused on a shiny ball or get off course and somebody distracts you, you're just going to drift further off course. And I think people have that occurrence happen when they hang out with the wrong people. And I'll be very very bold about this. When you hang out with the wrong people, you become just like them. And so hang out with people, stay around people that are goal oriented and goal achievable, that are resilient, that have this tenacity that you're just describing. And when you do that, you typically will stay on course.
Now, going back to your entrepreneurship mindset, it does tie into what you just said. I did not know you would say that. Is you need to fire idiots before your customers do. Michael Levine, the best-selling author, the publicist for Michael Jackson, for Prince, for Nike, for many big companies. Charlton Heston, he was his PR consultant. Michael Levine, look him up, folks. Michael Levine, publicist. Just go to Google, type in Michael Levine, publicist. You'll see him. Michael's been on this show multiple times. He tells me all the time, he says, Clay, the key to success is firing your flaky friends. I would say if you have a team of people, you got to fire flaky employees before the customers fire you. What's your thoughts there on just having jackassery omnipresent in your life?
You can't do it. I mean, Clay, we've talked about this so many times. When you set a company's expectation or a business's expectation, that expectation is a reflection of who you are. And the employees will not go higher or farther or above your level of expectation. We talk about this all the time, and even in our weekly business meeting with all our employees, we talk about a certain approach. We call it the Ritz-Carlton approach. I want people treated like that every single time, and that's the way it's got to be, or not. The or not part is if you can't do that, won't do that, you won't work here. And it doesn't matter how nice you are. It doesn't matter how good of a quote unquote friend you are. You don't fit within that culture. And so the expectations that sets the culture will also set the success or not of the business.
The next area, step number 4, you have to track results. You just have to measure what you treasure. You will slack where you don't track. There's different ways to say it, some of which rhymes and some of which doesn't. But the point is, if you don't track, you will slack. You have to measure what you treasure. If you're working with somebody, help them optimize their health, what kind of information do you track? I think there could be an overwhelming amount of things you could track, but what do you like to track if you're working with a client to help them optimize their health?
Well, one of the things that I just had this today, is someone that's obsessed with weight loss. I try to track body composition. So we have a machine they can stand on, and it gives them body fat percentages. So we want to track the muscle gain, the fat loss, as opposed to the weight loss, because we could see in that scenario I just gave, you could have negative effects on your health with weight loss of muscle tissue. So we want to make sure we're tracking the right things. And then blood testing. You don't want to be normal. This is key for people out there. Normal tests tell you normal things. From a situation like to gather the normalcy values from this population, which we have in America, that's very unhealthy. So if you want to be normally unhealthy, you'll try to be normal in your test. So we don't do that. We get very comprehensive labs that give people real answers, real tracking, and I want to see if they're getting better functionally across the board.
The final step number 5, if you want to have success in any area of your life, you've got to follow a proven system. And, if we were to go today to GNC, Walmart, Target, Walgreens, there's going to be an area where you can find magazines or publications or books about fitness. And you're going to see one guy who's saying, to have success, all you want to do is completely eliminate meat from your diet. He's going to go with that. You'll find another guy that'll have a book written about how you should only eat meat. Don't eat anything else, just meat. One guy's saying just anything but meat. One guy's going meat free. The other guy's saying meat all the time. You go to another one, you're going to have people that will convince you that really any kind of cosmetic surgery you can have, that's the key. You want to get the cosmetic surgery. Then you're going to get another kind that has just bizarre theories that you've never heard of before. But they're talking about what you want to do is you want to eat at this time and that time and this time, and you only want to eat this and this. You have somebody else that's talking about how you need to never stop eating throughout the day to speed up your metabolism. And so you add all that, you write it all down, and you go, okay, so what I need to do to lose weight is I need to only eat meat and simultaneously not eat meat. I need to eat consistently throughout the day, never stopping eating. I need to eat more spicy food. I need to have a ton of cosmetic surgery. And that is the key, because it can be confusing as these different competing ideas are introduced into your head. However, if you reach out to somebody like you who has a proven process, if you just follow the proven process, you'll get the results. What do you say to somebody out there that's been going from an idea of the week to an idea of the month for years and years and years? What do you say to somebody out there that's going, I'm tired of hopping from one new idea to the next. I just want to follow a proven system. What do you say?
Yeah, go back to the proven basics. These are just fads, and fads really take the place of basic concepts many times. They kind of distract us, as you were talking in previous principles, staying on course. We tend to go with proven practices and proven protocols that have been around for not 10 years, not 5 years, but centuries, eons of time, meaning you're going to eat well, no dieting allowed. You move well, the things you like to do, you do them more. You sleep well, and then you handle stress well. And then on top of that, we put proper, hormones, peptides, supplementation, proper testing, etc. But it's not hard, because we've laid out the process, that proven process for everyone out there within our systems. And all you have to do is Dorothy, follow the yellow brick road. It's that simple.
There's somebody out there that feels stuck and they want to get unstuck. And in the area of fitness, I know that's an area that you have a history, a track record of success, is helping people to unlock their health, unlock their potential. For somebody out there that says, hey, I'm thinking about working with you. I'm going to Sherwood.tv. I'm thinking about working with you. What kind of results could somebody expect if they're with you for a year or maybe even 90 days? I mean, is that something where people can see? I know in my family, we've had members of our family that have actually experienced working with you directly. They've had massive success. I know my friends, I know clients of mine who've lost weight with you, who've optimized their health. What kind of results can someone expect to see if they diligently follow your system?
It is normal for us to see success in all the areas that we've talked about today: weight loss, fat loss, muscle gain, normalcy of optimization of your biomarkers and things of that nature. We see that all the time. I saw a person just today that actually was able to reverse an autoimmune condition. So these things are normal for us. And that sounds a little bit quirky, but that's the normal function of the body. It's supposed to withstand, repair, regenerate, rebuild, recover. When you give the body what it needs, the body will do what it does. And people here get to experience that every single day.
In closing here, Dr. Sherwood, tell us about maybe a couple, maybe 3 or 4 of the solutions you have there at Sherwood.tv for people that want to optimize their health. What are a handful of solutions that you have available at Sherwood.tv, sir?
Well, one of them I think people don't talk about enough is our genetics. When people do a genetic plan with us, they really understand how they're wired. We don't look at genetics as negative. We look at them as positive. We don't look at them as disempowering. We look at them as empowering. I want to know how I'm hardwired. And then once I know that, it's like then you craft your software around that. You make it work well for you. People also need to know that if they come to us with hormone issues, we're able to fix those things in a nice, healthy manner, a bioidentical manner. There's a lot of questions today about peptides. Are they good? Are they bad? Et cetera, et cetera. We know peptides really well. We use, dozens of those things ourselves, and we have a lot of testimonies of people losing fat, gaining muscle, getting better recovery, better brain speed, better energy, even better sleep, better immune function with these peptides. So those are just 3 things out of the many we do.
Dr. Sherwood, you're a great American. Thank you so much for all you do. I encourage everyone to check out your website, sherwood.tv. That website is sherwood.tv. Folks, if you want somebody who can beat you in arm wrestling while helping you beat the odds and achieving maximum success, go to sherwood.tv. Dr. Sherwood, we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great, man.
Bye-bye. Well, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we're talking about the moves, the proven strategies, the simple moves that you can use to start and grow a successful company. Now, specifically, we're talking about how to start and grow a successful company with the focus on the OxyFresh.com brand. OxyFresh has over 500 locations, but these principles we're going to teach you on today's show have the ability, they have the capacity to change your life. There are 5 super moves that you can use. And here to talk about it is a man with a white hat, a man wearing a white shirt, and a man who happens to be Caucasian, the Caucasian sensation, the great white hope. They also call him the white mamba in the carpet game. Matt Klein, welcome onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for the intro.
Yeah. Hey, how often when did you decide to just dress in all white all the time? Is it a white party today, or is it any
I
particular?
have blue pants on, so, you know.
Well, with the white background, I almost didn't see you, so I'm so glad that you go out in the sun a little bit. I almost didn't see it. So, okay. So, Matt, I got to ask you, when you're growing an OxyFresh franchise, when someone buys an OxyFresh franchise, I'm going to go through a kind of a checklist of things they need to do every day, and maybe you could tell us where people get this right or where they get it wrong. First off, is you have to get up every day and organize your day before the day starts. You just have to. You can't, just buying an OxyFresh.com franchise alone won't make you successful. You have to block out time in your schedule to do the things that will grow the company. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know what you're going to do all day long, then you kind of get up and then you got to build your schedule that day, and then you waste the time building it instead of knowing what you're going to do. So you should have a plan of action, what you're trying to accomplish, put some action items behind it, schedule those things out so you can concentrate on those things and actually get them done, so you're not kind of pivoting from one thing to another within a task. So yeah, I think organization and having a plan is important.
Why is it that most people by default do not do this? And maybe there's never been an OxyFresh owner that's struggled with this idea, but I see a lot of entrepreneurs that want to act like they're an employee, but they're now self-employed. So that they want to get to work at the same time as the coworkers. They want to start their day at the same time as the employees. I'm sure you've never seen it at OxyFresh, but why is it that entrepreneurs often struggle with this idea of organizing their day before the day starts?
It's because they went from an employee to an owner without knowing what an owner should do. So they've just taken their task of what they think. I get this a lot. Like, well, I helped this company grow to a big business, and I get no rewards. It's like, no, they employed you to do a job. You did, and you got paid for it, which you agreed upon. That is not the same thing as running the company and making the decisions. So there's a misnomer where people think that owning a company, like working at a high level and doing your job appropriately, makes you in a scenario where you should be the owner. It's like, you're not, right? If you're the owner, you would have making those decisions. You would have hired someone to do that. So it's just, they've never done that. They don't know what it's like. They're used to something telling them when to be at work, which means they know when to get out of bed and when they get in their car and all those sorts of things. So owning your own company, like, you're in charge of the infrastructure of your life, whereas you have a company, you're not. If you have a job, you're not in control of the infrastructure of your life. It's dictated almost entirely by somebody else.
Levi, I want to ask you, do you have any follow-up questions on that? Because you work with business owners as a consultant. Levi's off camera, but on mic. Any questions you have for Matt Klein about this idea of organizing your day?
Yeah, so it might be an interesting question because I do business consulting, and I am coaching my clients, but sometimes they struggle with taking action. I feel like that's the most common thing that people struggle with. The hardest thing is just taking action. And so what advice do you have on that part of things? Just taking action.
Yeah, I mean, we have it in our franchise as well, right? Like, you give someone a task and then they just sit there and they don't know how to get that task done. It's like, some of that's just ingrained in people. You can tell someone to do something and they'll just do it. And then you have to basically get someone to do something or train them and hold their hand on how to do it. For us, like, that's part of our coaching program. Like, I don't have the answer to like how you get people to do things they're not willing to do on their own. Like, that's kind of the centerpiece of a good business owner, right? They're self-motivated. But part of that is like, take like reviews, for instance, like a very simple task of getting reviews. Some people are challenged with this so much. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to ask. They don't know how to send the review link. They don't know how to follow up. Like, they'll go through 4 or 5 people and have a very bad reception to it, and then they'll quit getting reviews. All right. So this is a telltale sign. Like we got a quitter in our mix because they went through a very small amount of rejection and they'll quit. So one, you have to let them know that getting no's is a part of having a good business and just roll with it. 2, you have to actually get them to understand what it means to them. Like it's a non-negotiable to own a small business at this point and not get reviews. So you're telling me after 5, you're unwilling to get any more. So what is the end game here? So if you're unwilling to do that, you're unwilling to do almost anything in your business. So I think it's more of a motivation with a goal in mind, right? But to your point, like you can't make someone do something they're not willing to do on their own. You can help them and give them tips on how to do it. But if you have somebody that runs a company and they're not willing to do the basic things, I don't know how you make that person good, to be honest.
Now, step number 2, we get step number 1. What is step number 1? Organize your day before the day starts. So today, we have a lot going on, Matt. We have a conference coming on Thursday, and so I've got landscaping details that need to be dealt with. We've got two waterfalls that need to be maintained. We've got a fire pit that needs to be cleaned. We've got cups. We've got cups, print pieces that need to be taken care of. Big list of line item of logistics, of microphones that need to be tested. I mean, there's a lot. And the event's going to go on without a hitch. It's going to be great. But it's that running to-do list and that relentless follow-up that drives things to completion. And when people show up at the conference, trust me, I will have been awake and have been at the conference several hours before the average person shows up at 6 a.m. So step number 2, you got to follow up until success. Now, follow up, Matt, follow up. We're talking about following up. I'm not talking about abdicate. Abdicate is where you tell somebody to do something and you don't follow up. I'm talking about delegate, where you ask someone to do something and you follow up until it gets done with success. Again, follow up. If you run a successful OxyFresh or any other kind of small business, you can't just tell your team, hey team, go do a great job. Hey team, show up on time. Hey team, call the leads back. Hey team, wow the customers and gather an objective review. You have to follow up. Matt, let's talk about that for a second. Why do you have to follow up? Because I think most people by default don't follow up.
Yeah, I mean, what's your ultimate goal? It goes back to that thing. Like, let's just take sales, for instance. Let's say you, like in our instance, like you might be going by a building. It could be a large commercial like building. Maybe it's an apartment complex, right? And you see right on the front door, there's a property management company. Well, I want that business. So, and I know that's the decision maker. So I want to talk to that property manager. If I call them and leave them a voicemail, which by the way is the worst way to get anything done because they're not going to read. But let's just say that's my first attempt. 1, it's a bad attempt. 2, if I don't follow up on that, there is like a 99% chance that person will never know I even existed, right? So like my goal was to get that property. I did the least amount of effort to contact that person and I didn't follow up. I might as well have just done anything else, anything in the world besides that action because my goal to action was completely misguided. I could not get that job, right? But let's just say I want that job. I want that property manager. I want to build that relationship. Now, you might call and leave a message, but you should certainly follow it up with going and finding where their actual business is and stopping in and at least trying to find that person and speak to them. And if you don't speak to them, leave your card and then go back 3 days later and then go back 4 days later and then send them something, get them lunch, right? Figure out until you can actually get to the point of doing something productive, which is a presentation, doing one of their units for free so they show what you are. Like your goal is to get the property. Your effort in getting that will dictate if you can. And the minimal effort will do nothing. And the maximum effort will almost guarantee you at some point in the next year or two, you're going to get that job. It's not a question of if. If you are persistent enough, you'll get it. And so follow-up is, it's not like, it's one of those, again, non-negotiables. If you want to grow a business, follow up in almost everything. Follow up to your customers that are already on the schedule. If you're not letting them know that you're coming and you just assume they're going to forget, right? Follow up with potential customers. Follow up with your employees, right? Like every part of a small business is follow-up.
There it is. Now, Levi, give me questions for Matt Klein. Because Matt, not only does Matt own franchises himself, like he owns his own locations, but he also is one of the gentlemen who awards franchise. So if you're watching the show right now and you want to buy an OxyFresh.com franchise, Matt Klein is the franchise brand developer. So he awards locations to potential franchisees and he runs them himself. Levi, what follow-up question would you have for him?
Yeah, so as far as delegation goes and following up with employees or whoever it may be, what trying to think of one off the rip here, what what would be your advice on maybe how to approach your employees? If let's say you're in a situation where you have an employee who's not doing their job or missing things or not tracking what you're really supposed to do all the time. Well, let's say one of your employees is not doing these key things. How would you approach that?
Well, one, you have to understand how to get that information. If you don't have any tracking capabilities on the back end, you'll never know what's happening. So step one is find a way to track them or buy an Oxyfresh and we'll track that stuff for you. Two, you need to essentially when you hire them and you train them, you need to set expectations ahead of time. If you're talking about expectations and they don't know what those expectations are, you're playing two different games here. So one, you got to set the expectations. Two, you have to have the information available to you so you can pull reports and KPIs to let you know what's happening in your business. And three, you have to have real conversations and consistent conversations with whoever's your employees to let them know how important it is to you, what the steps are to address it and fix it, or just make it a part of their day, and then follow up on it. The more time that goes by before you check on your employees, the more likely things are not going the way you want. Right? It's very simple. It's like you need to build, just like I said, that's got to be part of your schedule in a week. Now, you might not have it every day, but certainly in a week, you should be having already plotted out time where you're going to go over these things. Because one, it does two things. One, you're prepared with the information that you've already gathered. And two, that they know that meeting's coming. Right? So you get all these things handled at the same time just by setting expectations, putting it on the schedule, and then being able to follow up with real data. Trying to guess and trying to assume things are one way or another is a really hard way to get people to quit and then write bad things about you on that Glassdoor or whatever it is.
Now, step number 3, you got to fire idiots before your customers fire you, huh? Yeah, if you have a team of people and you don't recognize they're idiots, you have to fire those idiots before the customer fires you. Let me give an example that Matt could not possibly relate to. We had a customer at Elephant in the Room Men's Grooming Lounge, a business that I'm involved in. And the customer contacted me and said, "Hey, just so you know, this is, again, Matt, this is an old story. It's far enough in the past. It's okay now, okay?" But they said, "Hey, I went there to get my hair cut, and one of your top employees, I'm sure, was in the front of the building vaping. And they let me know they weren't able to cut my hair right now because they were vaping." And I'm like, no way. You mean that one of my elite stylist is out front of my building? I said, "What time was your appointment?" And they're going, "Well, it was like at 1:00. I go, "What time did you get there?" 12:59. And what were they doing? Oh, they were out there vaping, and they were just going, "Hey, I can't get you in right now. I got to finish vaping here." And I go, "Right in front, huh?" It's like, "Oh yeah, right in front." They were just vaping it up. And I said, "Really?" And I said, so then I waited till 1, and I came back in and, "Hey, can we get my haircut now?" And they go, "Yeah, I got told you in just a minute. I got to, and this they go, your employee made me feel like I was an annoyance to their vaping passion." And I go, "Really?" So I called the employee. I said, "Employee, teammate, how you doing? Hey, one of our customers said you're vaping and you made them wait for their next haircut. You made them wait for the haircut. You made them late because you wanted to finish your 10-minute vapathon." And they go, "Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, I hadn't got a chance to vape." And I'm thinking, I wonder what flavor it was. Was it grape? I mean, I'm thinking like maybe if it was grape or some flavor they're excited about. I don't know. I'm not a vapor. Thought maybe it's a great flavor they have. I don't know. And I had that thought for about 10 seconds. And then it occurred to me, if I don't fire idiots, my customers are going to fire me. And so through the process of never-ending recruitment, and a week or two later, I called that person and I said, "Hey, we've had multiple calls about you vaping during the day and leaving your workstation. And so we're done with that conversation and you no longer work here."
Yeah.
And I had to do that because the worst thing I could possibly do was to not fire the idiot. Matt, what do you say to an entrepreneur out there? It's like, "Well, I just don't want to have to fire anybody. I just, my whole thing, man, is I want to build a community. I want to build a family environment. And in my family, nobody gets fired from my family, right? Nobody. My drug addict cousin, he's in the family. Okay. My drug dealing cousin, he's in the family. Everybody is in the family. Nobody gets kicked out of this family." Matt, what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's just what you said. If you want to keep a bunch of idiots around because you feel like you have a policy that you can keep idiots around, maybe you should start there. I mean, that's a really stupid thing to try to keep. It's like, what's your goal? Like you went through all this, you got your business set up, you got your marketing out, you got your repeat customers, also that you can't service them the way you said so. So it's like very simple. Like just think about your goals, get rid of people. Like I don't think any successful company hasn't gone through a lot of employees. Like you have to. Like you as the owner have got to go through the scars of what it is to find good employees. You got to know what it's like. You got to go through those situations. By the way, the reason that guy was probably doing that, vaping, he probably had some way of thinking that was okay. Right? So like either there's management problems or there's expectation problems or there's a listening problem. I don't know what it is, but there's a 100% chance there is a problem. Right?
Right.
And so it's like, at what cost are you willing to keep this person? Because they're not willing to service your customer.
Yeah.
They're not willing to listen. Right. They're not willing to look around the shop and say, I'm the only one doing this. Right. And if that's a shock to them that you fired them, that is a dead giveaway. You make the right decision.
I'll tell you this, the true story that involves me being the butt of the story here. Matt, we all get to a place where we recognize our athletic skill sets have a certain cap, you know. And I was playing high school basketball at a pretty high level. You know, I would start, but I wasn't like the best, you know, and I was on the team. And then you have traveling basketball, AAU. And long story short, I got asked, hey, this weekend we had a top guy. He got hurt. We need someone to fill that roster spot. Could you play over the weekend of this tournament? I said, sure, you know. So I get there, and these two guys, they're like 6'2", 6'3", these white guys, and they're on the team. And in warm-ups, they're doing ridiculous dunks. I mean, just ridiculous dunks, these two guys. They're brothers. They're 1 year apart, and they're doing like reverse dunks, and they're going for 360s, and this isn't warm-ups. And I'm like, if I time it right, I can dunk with two hands with the right angle, but not in a game. And that's if it's like uninterrupted. These guys are floating above the rim. This is a different level. Then we start doing the shoot around, and these guys don't miss. Matt, when they're not guarded, they just don't miss. And I'm thinking, I really hope I don't get asked at all to play during this game. Because I'm watching the opposing team, and I'm like, those guys are great too, you know? And so the game starts, long story short, they bring me in. And I'm going against a guy who's like 6'8", and he can jump higher than me. He's faster than me. And I'm like, oh, frick, you know? And so all I'm saying is, like, I'm aware that I do not deserve a spot on that court as a starting player, you know? And I don't know what myth or what legend had been spread, but I did not deserve to be on that court. And I did my best to not get embarrassed, but it was bad. And I thought to myself, there's zero shot of me playing D2, D1, or any really kind of organized basketball beyond high school. I just remember that thought. But I was aware of it, you know, and the coach just needed somebody to fill a couple minutes, and that was it. But guess what? He didn't ask me to come back the next week. He didn't ask me to start. He didn't, you know, make me the poster boy for what his team should be. I think a lot of business owners are blinded to the jackassery of their own team. I think a lot of business owners have a guy who has no business being on your team, but you just keep rolling him out there because he's your cousin, he's your neighbor, he's your brother, he's a guy from high school. I just see it a lot. I encourage everybody out there, please don't hire incompetent people. Just go out of your way to not hire. Go out of your way to fire idiots, or your customers will fire you. Step number 4, you have to track your results. You got to track your results. You have to measure what you treasure. Matt, how often is this an issue for people where they go, you know, I know I need to track, but I find myself not wanting to track. I mean, OxyFresh, you do it all for people. So you can see you have a 0% upselling percentage or a 0% review conversion rate, or you track the numbers. How often is it a problem though where entrepreneurs won't even look at the numbers?
Well, I think it's even bigger than that. I think most entrepreneurs don't have the numbers, and they're not going to go through the process of creating the numbers, and they're not going to hire a company to do it for them. So they never even get to the point of getting the numbers at all. Right. And I think that's the vast majority of them. They manage off of feel. They manage off their bank account at the end of the month. They manage off of assumptions with their employee performance, and it gets really ugly really quick, right? Because they think some things are happening. They don't have the details, and then it's always a he said, she said with employees. And then you actually look at the numbers, and they're not making as much as they want, and then there's just waste everywhere, right? So one is they just don't have it. Two is if you have it, which we haven't. And there are certain franchisees that won't look at it. This is even harder for me to understand. You know, I talk to every franchise, not every, but I talk to franchise all the time, right? Like that say, hey, you know, how are things going? And I'm running across these. And I'll go, well, what were your sales last month? They go, well, I don't know. I'm like, how do you not know that? Like, well, what was your upsell percentage? I don't know that. What was your cancellation been? I don't know that. And it's literally on the main page of their dashboard in their schedule. It just tells me they're asking me to solve a problem that they're not interested in actually solving. They just want to be heard. They want my answer to be like, don't worry, sweetheart, it's going to be okay. You didn't do anything wrong. When it's really like, I can't have this conversation until you look at your numbers and come back to me and tell me why you think it's going wrong.
Now, Matt, I do track on the Thrivetime show, and I'll tell you something. You are looking better this year than last year. I mean, and Matt, I don't know if you're going to get updated headshots, but you really should, because when you look at how good you look now, and you compare that, like a couple years back, this was a dark time, Matt. This was a dark time. I mean, look at you then, right? I mean, no one wants to look at that. Look at that, Matt. Matt, look at what you're doing here. You're getting so much more beautiful year after year. Matt, are you tracking the results too? Because I mean, you really have gotten significantly more attractive since you've gotten married, Matt. I mean, you need to get some updated headshots.
I don't know. I don't think that's true.
I think it is. Look at this. This was a dark window of your time. This is like a feudal society. This was like a peasant who hadn't been fed in a long time. Now look at you here, looking good. The white party, Matt Klein. Okay, let's continue. The final step here. You got to follow the proven process, Matt. You just gotta follow the system. I mean, come on. If you buy an OxyFresh franchise, you're paying for the system, right? If you have a business consultant, you're paying for the system. If you have a personal trainer for fitness, you're paying for the system. You got to follow the system, baby. Matt, how often do you see someone who says, I know I'm paying for a system, but I kind of want to throw some baking soda on that, put a little gasoline, mix that up, make my own little mixture for carpet cleaning, take a little sawdust and kind of, put that in a little container with a little gasoline and some ethanol and some bleach. And that's how I prefer to, that's my own little cleaning, elixir I've developed, my own little concoction. I mean, Matt, how often do you find people that just don't want to follow the system? I mean, you're the world's greatest carpet cleaner. How often do people just not want to follow the system?
It doesn't happen for us a lot, but
it doesn't happen. Okay.
It doesn't happen very much because by the time they've gotten to the franchise and how they're going to do this, I mean, that's just not something that is happening a lot, right? But
okay. Yeah.
For those that do have issues, I mean, we have a relaunch program, right? If you buy a franchise, you're not willing to follow the system, I don't know what you're trying to accomplish. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, I'm going to pull this up real quick here. I'll tell you what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm trying to get some new 2026 headshots. That's what I'm trying to do. This is a passive-aggressive war to get this done. You hear a lot about foreign countries and all sorts of issues in the world right now. I'll tell you the only issue I have. The only issue I have in the world is I can't get a 2026 headshot from Matt Klein. What do I have to do? I have to look at this old image of a skinny, gangly, poorly fed, pre-marriage Matt Klein. Look at this beautiful Matt Klein. I can't get any headshots with that Matt Klein. That's what I'm doing. Also, I'm trying to sell some franchises. So if you're out there today and you want to buy a franchise from the beautiful Matt Klein, just go to thrivetimeshow.com/oxyfresh, thrivetimeshow.com/oxyfresh. Matt, I'll give you the final word. Why should everybody with a sound mind look into buying an oxyfresh.com franchise?
Yeah, I mean, there's no risk. It doesn't cost you anything to look into it, evaluate it, see if it works. It might open up your mind to options that you have that you didn't think you have. For those that want to keep their job or you hate your job, we have an option for both. So there's no risk to evaluating us and seeing if it might fit into your life. We'll discuss it. You might see that you don't want your job at all, or you just want more incomes.
Matt, when are you scheduling your headshots? Is that going to be something you're doing today, later today?
I have no scheduled appointments for. My wife takes enough pictures. I hope I don't have to do that anytime soon.
Okay. Well, I'll just I'll follow up tomorrow. Just tracking the results here. All right, Matt. We'll talk to you soon. See you, brother. Bye.
See you.
Raising the standard, genuinely raising it, not as a declaration, but as a practiced daily reality, rebuilds that trust over time. Each time you do what you said you'd do, on a day when it wasn't easy, the foundation of self-trust gets a little more solid. As that foundation strengthens, the quality of future commitments improves, because they're being made by someone who has recent and consistent evidence that their word to themselves actually means something. This is one of the more valuable things you can build, not because it sounds impressive, but because it compounds. The person who consistently keeps their own standard becomes progressively more capable of the kind of disciplined effort that produces real, lasting results. The line between interest and requirement is, when it comes down to it, a line between the life you imagine and the life you build. Imagination and interest are wonderful things, and they're where most good efforts start. But they're the beginning, not the destination. The destination requires something more durable than interest. It requires caring enough about the outcome, caring enough about who you're becoming and what you're producing, to take the negotiation out of the equation entirely. The day that happens doesn't announce itself loudly. It's just the day you wake up and find that certain things are no longer optional. And from that day forward, the way you move through your life reflects that new and firmer reality. Every person, whether they've thought about it consciously or not, operates within a set of personal standards that defines the range of what they're willing to accept from themselves. That range controls way more than most people realize.
Since I've been working with you, I would say from maybe 2 a week to probably close to 20 a week.
Repeat that one more time. You went from how many leads to how many leads?
2 a week to 20 a week. And that's calls in our office, real calls. Name of the company is Roof Angel. We're a commercial and residential roofing company. Currently, we're servicing Henderson, Kentucky, Owensboro, Kentucky, really the western, northern part of Kentucky, and south end of Indiana. Yeah. My first and last name is Jake Gibson, and the web address is it's www.roofangel.com.
Again, for anybody out there that might have blacked out when they heard that, I think you said you went from 2 calls per week or 2 leads a week to 20 leads a week. Maybe I got that wrong. Could you maybe share again just how much of an increase you've seen in the leads in these first 120 days?
Yeah, the increase, I mean, what would that's like 400%, maybe more. Sorry, that'd be 1,000%, I guess, right? 2 to 20. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
the increase has been massive.
It's wild. It's unbelievable.
People are mad at me. A lot of companies here, it's not just roofing companies, they're mad at me because they're like, what are you doing that we're not doing? There's a lot of talk that just does not make sense to people. And I love it. I want to keep doing it. So, yeah, so my big claim to fame, roofers in a lot of industries, they have a bad name. So I want to make sure, I want to set that straight, and I want to set a higher expectation. So when we go out to roofs, a lot of times we do free repairs even. We bring a caulk gun, we bring all the stuff we need on top of that roof. And if it's a simple fix, we're fixing it for free. Not for free because we want a Google review or a video review. But in that case, we're telling them, we're saying, hey, next time a storm comes by, we want to be your roofer, so give us a call. We're not chasing money, we're chasing just doing the right thing.
Folks, on today's show, we're going to interview a wonderful client who, it's kind of interesting because I've known of this man for years, and I've had the opportunity to work on a very close level with this man's uncle, I believe. So this man, his uncle, is the pastor of a church called His Church. It's Pastor Brian Gibson. It's called His Church. And I've had the opportunity to work with both pastors Brian and Jesse Gibson for years. And I kept hearing rumors about this family member they have that's got the entrepreneurial spirit, and this guy who's going to go on to become super successful. And so we've had the opportunity to now work with the founder of roofangel.com, and I believe the nephew of Pastor Brian Gibson. Jake Gibson, welcome onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, sir?
I'm excited to be here with you, and I want to just celebrate the wins and encourage somebody out there. So first off, your website, your company is roofangels.com. It's roofangel.com, singular, roofangel.com. Tell the listeners out there, what's the name of your company and what markets do you service?
Name of the company is Roof Angel. We're a commercial and residential roofing company. Currently, we're servicing Henderson, Kentucky, Owensboro, Kentucky, really the western, northern part of Kentucky, and south end of Indiana. Yeah.
And for anybody who wants to verify that you're real, can you tell us your first and last name and your web address?
Okay, yeah. My first and last name is Jake Gibson, and the web address is It's www.roofangel.com.
So for people who might be hearing this, who are in the market areas that you serve, what is it that sets Roof Angel apart from the other wonderful roofing companies that are in your market?
Yeah, so my big claim to fame, roofers in a lot of industries, they have a bad name. So I want to make sure, I want to set that straight, and I want to set a higher expectation. So when we go out to roofs, we a lot of times we do free repairs even. We bring a caulk gun, we bring all the stuff we need on top of that roof, and if it's a simple fix, we're fixing it for free. Not for free because we want a Google review or a video review. Um, but in that case, we're telling them, we're saying, hey, next time a storm comes by, we want to be your roofer, so give us a call. We're not chasing money. We're chasing just doing the right thing.
Now, one thing I wanted to brag on you about is you guys are diligent on the marketing efforts, and you're diligent in the actual fulfillment of the service. So you guys do a phenomenal job putting in the work on the marketing side and on the fulfillment side. And what's great about working with you, there's so many things, but one is you actually do the homework. And so I want to encourage everybody out there, if you say, what does a successful client look like? That's Jake Gibson and his team. Jake, can you share in the past, maybe 90 days, maybe 120 days, I believe that you're receiving a fairly dramatic increase in the number of online leads that you're getting. How much of an increase have you seen in the online leads that you're receiving now versus where you were, let's say, 120 days ago?
I would say from maybe 2 a week to probably close to 20 a week.
Repeat that one more time. You went from how many leads to how many leads?
2 a week to 20 a week. And that's calls in our office, real calls.
Real calls. And again, I want everyone to hear this. You're putting in the work, but you're also whacking golf balls today. So walk the listeners through the mindset that you have when it comes to wowing your customers, whether it be through the fulfillment or through the actual marketing efforts. Walk the listeners out there through the mindset, because you are an example of a diligent doer. You are exactly what the Thrive Nation aspires to be like. What is the mindset that you have when it comes to knocking out what you said you would do for the clients as well as on the marketing side?
Yeah, so I have a mission. I want to fund the kingdom, and we only have so long on this earth. So hiring Clay as my coach, I know it's going to get me closer to that mission. So anything he tells me to do, if it's marketing, whatever, I'm going to pay for it.
Now, what's it like to have an uncle like Pastor Brian Gibson, a guy who likes to mix faith with action? You know, this is a guy who runs a church, but he also has he has a profound interest in business, but he also has an interest in growing the kingdom. Did you pick up on some of that mindset of being kingdom driven from Pastor Brian, from your uncle, or where did you get that idea of having a kingdom driven business?
Well, it started from my grandfather. He had one of the largest cattle companies in the United States at one point. Well, that fell, it crashed, and then I was inspired by my uncle next. I was inspired by my grandfather, then my uncle, but I had that entrepreneur spirit. My grandfather, he wasn't, let's say, like the faith guy, right? He just worked hard. He was a hard worker. So I knew if I mixed faith and I tithed and I gave offerings, I knew that I would be blessed even more than that. So I have a high expectation for myself, knowing where my grandpa got, knowing I have to beat that, because now I'm giving, I'm serving, all that good stuff. There's a lot of pressure on me with my uncle being a pastor.
Now,
again, a faith guy.
I want to get into this. The Hebrews chapter 11, I'll pull it up on the screen here. Hebrews chapter 11 is a unique section of the Bible where God outlines all of these wonderful people that had massive faith, but they actually took action. And I don't know that a lot of people read this enough. I don't know that I talk about it enough on the show. Perhaps I could crank it up here, but let me just read this to you real quick here. It says, by faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph and worshiped, leaning upon the top of his staff. By faith, Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel and gave commandment concerning his bones. By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents because they saw he was a proper child, and they were afraid of the king's commandment. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. By faith, folks, it's by faith. It says, by faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians assaying to do were drowned. By faith the walls of Jericho fell down after they were compassed about 7 days. By faith, the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not when she had received the spies with peace. And it goes on and on. It says, who through faith subdued the kingdoms, wrought, and you hear over and over, faith, 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 but it's action and faith. And why I wanted to have you on this show today is you're mixing faith with action, and it's a profound thing. You're not getting, when we get on our coaching calls, you're not saying, Clay, how do I get motivated to take action? You're just saying, I've got faith. I know it works. Show me what to do. Please let us into your mindset. I want to clone you, but it's not ethical. What is the mindset you have? Faith with action.
Man, I have crazy faith. I pray a lot. I start off by devouring the word in the morning, dividing in the evening. So I'll pray for, I don't know, I pray for an hour in the morning, just all day long. And I pray crazy, right? I'm calling in $1 million contracts. For the first, we've been open, we opened Roof Angel 4 months ago. Our first contract we had was for 1.1 million, because I had faith for that. So with that, I expect it to happen because I know if I'm praying for it, and I put the action behind it, it's going to happen every time. And I've seen it time and time again.
It's just a radical thing you just said. So let's get back into the brass tacks before you have to go whack some golf balls.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, I say, hey, Jake, when you got to wow your customers. You said, no problem. That's what I do. I said, now I need you to go out there and gather an objective review from your customers. You say, no problem. I say, Jake, I need you to every single week to do VISM. You say, what's VISM? I said, you got to get video testimonials or video examples. You got to get images of your work, drone footage of the roofs you're working on. S, search engine content, we got to write that. And N, we got to get more Google reviews. Can you walk us through your mindset? Because every week, I know that faithfully on Saturday, now that we're in that great flow, I know when I call you at 6 a.m., you're going to have the videos in that folder, the images in the folder, you're going to have the reviews. What is the mindset that you have to bundling all those action items and getting the video testimonials or video examples, images, and more Google reviews? You do it every week. VISM, videos, images, search engine, more Google reviews. What's that mindset you have that allows you to get that done?
Yeah, I've seen it work time and time again, and I don't want to reinvent something that's already been done. I believe that we only have so long on earth to get something done, right, before we go to heaven. And with that, I want to be coached, and I already know the system works, so I just want to tackle that so I can get further down the road to do my assignment that God sent me to do. That's it.
Final two questions.
It's simple.
Final two questions in 120 seconds.
Okay.
Question number one here. For people out there that are thinking about coming to one of our workshops, you've been to the workshops or thinking about having us coach them in their business, what do you say to somebody? They're going to thrivetimeshow.com. They've seen maybe thousands of testimonials, but they're on the fence. What do you say to somebody out there that says, I don't know? What do you say to someone who's on the fence?
Yeah, don't be on the fence. Just do it. You're investing in yourself, your family. So really, if you love your kids and your family and you want to, build a legacy, just go to these conferences. They're amazing. I took my guys to them, and we got back from the conference, and they started probably tripling their sales. They were hyped just to see that, because I'm kind of in a small town, so people don't have that mindset yet. But being around the guys that Clay attracts, it got everybody on fire.
Final question for you. Again, for anybody out there that might have blacked out when they heard that, I think you said you went from 2 calls per week or 2 leads a week to 20 leads a week. Maybe I got that wrong. Could you maybe share again just how much of an increase you've seen in the leads in these first 120 days?
Yeah, the increase, what would that's like 400.
Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
Sean, guess what's happening April 9th and 10th, 2026?
We are probably going to have an amazing business conference here at Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Yes, we're joined by Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is going to be joining us right here at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters, June 5th and 6th. He's a very successful football player, obviously a Heisman Award winner, but he's also a very successful entrepreneur. Now, when you work with real clients, Sean, real clients you really work with to help them grow their companies, do you ever hear a business owner tell you that they didn't have time to get something done?
Every day.
How often is not having enough time a problem for business owners?
All the time. It's like maybe 90% of the issues as people are trying to grow their company.
Well, Tim Tebow is going to come join us here at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, and he's going to teach us time management and his approach to personal self-discipline and getting things done. Also at the workshop, I'll put up on the website so people can see it here. Also at the 2-day interactive workshop, Sean, we are going to be, there it is. We're going to be teaching accounting, systems creation, marketing, human resources, how to hire, inspire, train, and retain great people, accounting, social media advertising, search engine optimization. Sean, what's the area where most clients ask you for help the most? Is it generating leads? Is it hiring people? What's the biggest issue that most business owners have by default before they come to one of our workshops?
Well, I think it's management, because time is the most valuable resource for these business owners, and being able to manage their time is the first thing. Once they get that under control, then generally the numbers, being able to track their business and be able to make the best decisions based on numbers rather than emotions is a big area. And we teach all of this stuff at the business conference, particularly you, Clay. You love to hammer on time management. It's my favorite part of the conference.
Now, I'm going to pull this up real quick here because we're going to go through. If you're not excited, I want to get you excited about what we're going to cover at the workshop here. Okay.
All right.
The 2-day interactive workshop. This is my 20th year hosting workshops. So I'm telling you, folks, we're in rare form here. So one is the idea of establishing your revenue goals. I think most entrepreneurs don't know their revenue goals. Would you agree, or am I off my rocker?
No, that's totally a very important point we do with every one of our new clients that come on board, is we have to establish the revenue goals. And generally speaking, we have a vague idea, but not an exact idea that can be engineered down into like the daily goals for sales. And so that's a really big one.
Now, next is the break-even numbers. What kind of sales do you have to do to even break even?
Yeah.
Third is, how many hours per week do you want to work? What is your ideal schedule as an entrepreneur? Box number 4, how do you stand out in the clutter of commerce? What makes your company unique from all the different businesses? In a world of brown cows, herds of brown cows, proverbial brown cows, the analogy of brown cows, how can you be the purple cow that stands out? How can you be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil? Box number 5, branding. How do you improve the perception that people have of you, your business, your brand? Box number 6, marketing, your 3-legged marketing stool. What is a turnkey way for you and your company to generate leads so you can succeed? Because if you don't have any leads, your business will bleed. If you can't sell, your business will go to hell. You've got to generate leads. Sean, how often do business owners by default tell you they have a hard time generating leads?
It's almost all of the time. It's really a huge struggle. And many times they may be creating leads, but just through word of mouth. So they get to a point where we've implemented systems, and then they need to create more leads, but they've never had to do it. So there's a lot of different scenarios where business owners are like, how do you create leads? Something we hammer on at the conference a lot.
Box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Again, box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Sales scripts, recorded calls, one-sheets, pre-written emails, lead trackers, all of the sales tools, the sales print pieces, the one-sheets, the big screens that you see inside the business. Whether you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you got to have sales systems in place. We help you with that. Box number 8, what does it cost you to get another customer? Step number 8, what does it cost you to actually acquire a customer? Step number 9, it's hard to build an organization if you're not organized. We're going to teach you how to create repeatable systems, processes, file organization. Box number 10, we're going to teach you how to manage people, real people on the planet Earth. This just in, we're going to teach you how to manage real people on the planet Earth. Box number 11, how to create a sustainable schedule that works for you and your family. Step number 12, how to create human resources systems for recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining great people. Box number 13, accounting. This just in, we have to cover accounting. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. We're going to cover all the accounting things you need to know. And step 14, finally, what is the point of even achieving success? We're going to go over what is the point of even achieving success, how to design a life that you're excited about, how to design a life where you carve out enough time for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, and where you're going to spend your focused time. We're going to go through that, all this and more. Now, the workshop, Sean, it's April 9th and 10th. Yep. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. Yes. And tickets, we always do it. It's $250 or whatever price that someone can afford. Sean, why do we let people name their price? Why do we have scholarship tickets available if somebody can't afford the $250 general admission ticket?
Well, we don't want anybody to miss out on it. You know, you could be at a startup phase or you could be, you know, way along in your business, but we want to make it accessible for everybody. I think it actually goes back to a story of your dad. And like, it goes all the way back to how you've always done this as a business coach, trying to make sure that, you know, your average people out there have access to the things that work.
Now, 7 a.m. to 5, Sean, why do we go from 7 to 5 both days? I mean, it's 10 hours a day. 20 hours of training over 2 days. Why do we do 10 hours a day, Sean, of back-to-back workshops? We do a 30-minute teaching session. We do a 15-minute question and answer session, and then we take a break. 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of question and answer, then we take a break. Why do we do that format, Sean?
That format is so that we can keep people engaged and not just sitting there listening, but also getting involved. We really encourage people to ask questions, and that's really where the juiciness of the conference comes out, is you can put your personal situation and your questions on the board, and Clay will tee off and give you direct advice. Even without being in our coaching program, you can get direct coaching from Clay. It's really a very engaging format. I enjoy it a lot.
Once again, folks, this event is April 9th and 10th, 2026. Get those tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Once again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. Whoa. Who's our keynote speaker coming to the conference there, Sean?
Tim Tebow is our keynote speaker.
Sean, question number 3, how much does it cost to come to our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I think it's, did you say it's $250 or whatever you can afford?
That's right, $250 or whatever you can afford. Sean, how do you spell Eric Trump backwards?
P-M-U-R-T-C-I-R-E. Ooh, that took a long time.
I'll have to listen to this. Right. All right, again, that's Sean Lohman. I'm Clay Clark, inviting you to come join us at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop. This event is April 9th and 10th, 2026. Get those tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Once again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. Right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tim Tebow, baby. It's Tebow time.
Oh, yeah.
Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Hey guys, Luke Erickson here with the Thrivetime Show. As you can see behind me, we've got all kinds of energy going on. People are starting to show up for the conference, and it is hot in this place. We got grill guns over here. We've got people playing the drums. We've got a fire breather, and man, people are so excited as they come in. The conference is kicked off. This house is packed. We've got Aaron Hansis with Sean Holmes up there. We've got Steve Currington with Total Ending Concepts up there talking about what is possible when you just implement, when you do the proven system. It's so exciting. People are going crazy. Guys, Luke Erickson with the Thrivetime Show here with you. It is day 2 and the energy is high. People are so excited to be showing up. The team is ready. Come on, let's see what it's like to go on in for day 2. Follow me.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas, and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added, I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees. And now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrivetime, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. So I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team.
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days.
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes, and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur, I think, would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation and making you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. Man, there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been two major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on, expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. That's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, this is Charles and Amber Kolaw. We're the owners of Kolaw Fitness. We heard about Clay Clark through Paul Hood, our CPA. We've worked with Clay Clark for the last 2 years. Clay Clark has helped us take our 3 locations in 3 different states and create checklists, workflows, task lists, time blocks for every employee. He's helped us with creating systems and audits for every department, quantitative scorecards for each department and every position so that everybody has a number. It's been able to give us a lot of time freedom and financial freedom and peace of mind to know that everything's running efficiently, and he's been helpful with a lot of marketing, search engine optimization, helping us really rank high in Google, and pretty much every area of the business. It's been very, very helpful.
We would describe the experience of working with Clay as very energetic. He's full of energy. He's very encouraging, very motivating, but also accountable. So he keeps us accountable, and we love that accountability. It keeps our drive in the right direction, so we're not chasing things that aren't worth spending our time on.
Yeah, he's a great coach. He helps push us on certain areas, helps coach us in certain areas. We're all emotional creatures, and we go up and down, and he actually will tell us kind of where we're at, how we can get from there, and even emotionally, when we're stressed about something, he'll have a story to relate to, and it really helps us in every area of our business. It's been very, very helpful.
I think Clay's ability to have a whole team behind him that help him with all of his clients, all his coaching clients, is that it allows Clay to do what he's really good at, and that's working one-on-one with the client and coaching them. And then he can have his amazing staff come in and help you accomplish all these goals that you're setting.
And of course, he has all these resources, whether it's videographers or whether it's web developers, that they can quickly jump on your project, knock things out. He can quickly give you the right coaching. He's just got a whole team of people that whatever area you're lacking in your own company, he's got resources from video, web design, search engine guys who are just knowledgeable in that. Even though he knows a lot of that stuff, he's got these capable lieutenants that are ready to just take off and help you get that stuff. More stuff gets done on a weekly basis than you would on probably most than the individual or some other company. We've worked with several companies before, and it just not as many things get done on a weekly basis, so it's been very helpful. Well, the conferences for me, I'm a slow learner, so I have to learn like over and over again, hear things over and over again. I've been to like, I think 8 different conferences, and each time you come, I learn a few new components. Some things are repetitive, but a lot of the stuff just resettles and I get a little bit more depth into each component. So, I mean, I've been to 8 of them. They're all super entertaining. He's very funny, very encouraging. You get to kind of self-reflect a lot. A lot of the stuff is really polarizing. You do a personal inventory of yourself and you'll think like, hey, I've really got to work on this, really got to work on that. So every time you come, I still get a lot of value out of it.
And as much as every conference is the same, it's totally different. So I think we'll hear stories we haven't heard before. He'll have entertainment, or he'll have speakers he didn't have before. And you, like you said, you just always catch a different part of the material that maybe you didn't catch before, or it's worded differently.
And it's really cool because some people that you've seen like a year ago at a conference, now they're being showcased as a success story, and you get to see their website, you get to see how their stats, all their metrics have improved and the revenue improved. So it's really cool to see people that just a year ago, that of course we've been here 2 years, that just came, that I met, is now being successful. It's really encouraging to see other people, accomplish that stuff. So Clay has helped us optimize our website and helped with really topping the right search engines that we need to make sure that we are very, very competitive with all of our other competitors. He's done, basically he outlines exactly what you need to be accomplishing, and he creates tasks that we have to accomplish and his team has to accomplish. And I would say over the last 2 years, we've totally ramped our website. We're topping Google in every one of our markets. We're just doing, I would say just doing really, really good. I feel very, very confident in all of our future locations and making sure that we're in front of the ideal and likely buyer. It's very encouraging. It's important to me to know when I'm working with Clay, I've been in business for a while and met with him even when I already had three businesses in 3 different states, and to know that what I share with him is staying private. He's not sending that out to anybody else. To know that when he's working with me, he's only working with no other gyms that are in direct competition with me. It's very encouraging to have somebody you can trust and rely on, that he isn't going to somehow tell your trade secrets or give information away. Just really awesome that he's a trustworthy guy, really cares about you as a client. For us, it's been a complete mind freedom because Clay has helped us create a lot of different documents and one-sheets for every department, put quantitative scorecards to each department. And so for us, it's been very encouraging and gives us peace that when, as an entrepreneur, it's stressful. You go to bed at night, you're worried, did we cover this, did we cover that? So he helps extract everything out of your brain, everything from your business, put it into document creation, put it into checklists and workflows for every person in each department, and make sure that everything's getting done every week, every month, and funnel that all into KPIs or key performance indicators that you can see on a weekly basis to make sure you're moving the needle in the right area of your company. So it's very encouraging and give you a complete mind freedom and peace to know that stuff's created so you're easy to duplicate and scale your company.
Right, and then we can spend time doing what we're really good at and just trust the system.
I honestly believe everybody needs a coach. I think we're all inherently lazy and selfish and carnal. I truly believe that humans are humans. If we're standing, we'd rather sit. If we're sitting, we'd rather lay down. And if we're laying down, we'd rather be asleep. So to have somebody that challenges you, have real active candor, and be honest with you on every aspect of your company is really, really encouraging to me, because I want to know, I want to work on what we're weak at. I want to see any areas that we're not doing well in, and see his perspective from a third party, because you can look at your own business and just see the good. It's good to have somebody who does this, who's done this with hundreds of companies, really look at your company, reflect on your company, and see little chinks in the armor to make sure you cover that up so your competition can't get to you, and that you're successful overall in the big picture. So yes, I would recommend Clay Clark because he is a great friend, a great encourager. To me, he's been a wonderful friend. He's also, you can tell he cares, and he has this wealth of knowledge. He's worked with so many different companies and different businesses. He could take a concept that he's used before in the past with somebody totally different industry and see how it would work perfectly for you in whatever niche market you're in or whatever type of service you're providing. And so his brain is just a wealth of knowledge, And just to have that type of perspective on, as a part of your team and your own company is huge, it's super valuable. So I would definitely encourage people to use him. But one thing is you got to be coachable. You got to be wanting to get feedback. You got to be wanting to really grow your company. You got to want to put that extra 10 hours a week to working on your business and not just in your business. And so, yes, I would recommend it to anybody who's wanting to grow their company and provide great systems, checklists, workflows, great encouragement, and have accountability.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And I mean, we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us, and it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads. Going from 10 a month to 180 a month, that would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it, because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love the building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you, so congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodruff Finishing, business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. that's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous, just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach, you know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, you know, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever is important. You know, my rich dad was one of those persons. I wanted to learn how to play Monopoly in real life. So he was my coach.